Hey everyone, Mirai here, and we've got some shit to talk about. We've got some shit to talk about today, people. This is a vlog. There's a lot of stuff to talk about here. A lot of excitement, a lot of emotions. Not only is there a waterfall of emotions, it's I don't know what it is. It's two waterfalls it's a double rainbow of emotions, okay? So where do we start? You're gonna see somewhat of a title. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna title it. We'll probably call this Jesus fucking Christ. That's what we'll call this. First of all, here's the motherboard. You like this? Yeah. We're on a different mic today. Why are we on a different mic today? Why don't we have the BBM in my face, right? Why don't we have the big black microphone in my face? Well, that's because we've got a motherboard here. Does this look familiar? Does this look like the X79 Asus Rampage 4 Black Edition motherboard that was, at some point in recent times, in my secondary machine? Yeah, it's not good anymore. It just failed. It just fucking failed 3 days ago. What did it take with it? What did it take with it, kids? It took the 980 Ti Kingpin Classified with it as well. Luckily, this is still under warranty. This is going to go back to EVGA, and we're going to see what they want to give me for that. They're probably going to say, oh, there's water damage on it. There's no fucking water damage on this thing. There's no leak in my system. There's no water anywhere. I swear to God, if they try to claim it was water damage, I'm going to forget it. Anyway, let's start off. Let's start off with the negative. So there's the negative. That means that I'll show a picture of the dilapidated state that this secondary system is currently in. The whole deal, I had to break out the EVGA Dark that I made such a deal about back in the day being a piece of shit motherboard, and it really got a ton of flack for it as well. So that's in there now. The chip is good, the RAM is good, everything else seems to be fine. It's just the motherboard and the GPU that got taken out. So what I thought was I thought I was gonna be able to sell the old X99 stuff, but now it seems that I bought some new DDR4 32 gigs so I could keep the X99 system from the Godlike and the 5960X and the Samsung 850 Pro M.2 drive that I thought I was going to be able to sell and recoup some cost on this new expensive ass upgrade. But no, I have to keep it now because I need a secondary machine, right? Something needs to be able to record videos and whatnot. So there's another thing. That's why there's been a delay. First of all, I went on a vacation to see my parents in the state that I'm from. So I was there about a week. I just got back on Monday. Today it is Friday. So I was gone for a week. I wasn't making any videos at that point. Sorry, I keep looking. There's a wire down. I'm trying not to sit down and ruin because I've got this little recorder here. There wasn't making videos then, and now I'm back. And then all of a sudden, I got back and I turned the secondary system on, and it starts just dying on me. Like the displays would just die. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is this? What is happening here? So eventually it just stopped kind of turning on and throwing motherboard error codes at me. Anyway, no videos for a little bit. It's going to be, I don't know how long it's going to be because I have to get the secondary system up and running. I have to change some water cooling stuff around. And unfortunately, I need one fitting and I need a lot of it. And unfortunately, that one fitting is not in stock at the moment. And who knows when they're going to get stock back. And I actually was supposed to fucking email them earlier today. But of course, BlizzCon is today, so we're all hyped up for that. So enough about the negative, right? Except there won't be any videos for a little bit. I'm just going to plan a bunch of shit out so that when it's time, this will give me time to finally level my characters again. Supernova's got to be pissed at me at this point that I don't have those two characters at level 110 yet, so him and I can do 2+3 mythic dungeons and whatnot. But what does it matter? Because we got a new expansion on the rise. And not only do we have a new expansion, we have an additional announcement as well, which we'll talk about in just a moment. So the new expansion, very sexy. I've got the virtual ticket. I've been keeping a thread on Dual Dash Boxing up to date with all the information as much as I can here. So I mean, there's obviously a bunch of new stuff. Level cap raise to 120. War fronts, which seems to be sort of an RTS style 20-player versus AI NPCs. So that'll be interesting on how multi-boxers will deal in there, or if they'll even be allowed in there, I don't know. Allied races, the whole sub-races, unlockable races dealio, that's pretty cool. I think it's going to be cool for those who really like to dig into the transmoggable stuff, the RP stuff. I am I'm a sucker for aesthetics. I'm going to repeat that till the day I fucking die. If you hear me repeat that a lot, I'm sorry. If that's tiring to hear, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it. I'm a sucker for aesthetics. I love the way things look. It adds just an extra bit. It obviously doesn't add anything to functionality, but things look good. I think they're pleasing to the eye, and then everyone can just enjoy them that much better. So you can now, you will be able to unlock sub races for certain other races, 6 at launch, but more to come, obviously. Leveling improvements, which we're actually going to see here in 7.3.5, are all zones getting scaling. They said some of it is going to come, not all of it is going to show up right away. And even while leveling, I know some people, you tire from leveling in the outside world, dungeons, whatever, everything's going to scale. They said something about, Ian was just throwing something out, about how Westfall was going to scale from, say, levels 10 to 60. But of course, there are caps and ranges on certain levels. So you won't be able to, at level 8, just go to Northrend and go fight the Scourge and the Undead there. You won't be able to just go there at level 8. You have to sort of follow some sort of transition, but you won't necessarily be kicked out of, say, Elwyn Forest at like level 12 anymore. You can just keep questing. You can do all the quests in there. It's all going to give you the experience it's supposed to give you. Everything's going to make sense. It's going to be the same technology we've got today on Legion, which is very sexy. I love it, just being able to move from zone to zone, not having to worry about any linearity, any questing. I think that's great. Unfortunately, the quests it seems like the Cataclysm quest lines are still going to be there, which are still pretty linear in some zones. So that's kind of a turnoff to me. I was really hoping for, there were some rumors about a revamp of Azeroth, like a Cataclysm 2.0 without the Cata or the Clism. So we're not getting that, apparently. We're not getting that, but maybe this Battle for Azeroth expansion announcement is going to be what leads up to that. I don't doubt, because obviously we're still looking at old Azeroth content that's still talking about Deathwing on the rise, and Deathwing is the imminent threat, which is clearly not the case, right? I really didn't like that they did that. I wouldn't mind talking about that in an entirely separate video, but just to just quickly talk about that. I was not a fan of them revamping Azeroth and doing what they did to it. The end result is really, I don't like it. Just to plainly put it, I don't like it one bit. Things are very linear. It destroys, in my opinion, the open worldness that an MMO should be. And the fact that you have to go from hub A to hub B to hub C to hub D to hub E throughout a zone, because if you show up in a zone, if you don't do hub A, the guys at B, C, D, and E aren't going to talk to you. You might find a quest here or there where you're going to be able to do it, but some zones are just so strict in the path that you are forced to take, kills any open world feel like an MMO should have. That's my opinion, and that's why I really don't like Cataclysm. The way that they redid those zones. I was hoping for a Cataclysm 2.0 with a little less restriction on having to move from hub A to point A to point B to point C, and especially with the hubs being like literally 100 yards from each other, or maybe like 200-300 yards. But I mean, it's like you could almost see in Westfall, you could almost see the next hub just right there, just a stone's throw away. Like if I was Brett Favre, I could throw a football to the people, to the Griffin Master from the first hub there. It's kind of a joke. And the fact that I use Westfall as an example here a lot, but because I really like the old Westfall questing, I like the Defias storylines in the old days, and obviously that is kind of tying into what's going to happen at the end here. But you walk into Westfall, which is obviously in turmoil, and you go to Sentinel Hill, the fucking capital of Westfall, and no one will talk to you. You could be level 28 and no one will talk to you, right? What is that bullshit? That is some bullshit. That's what I don't like about Cataclysm. So anyway, the way the revamp happened. So I was really hoping for a revamp of the Azeroth content. What we got with scaling, I guess it'll have to do. Anyway, moving on. There's a little tangent there. Island expeditions. There's more. They seem like 3-player scenarios again. Not sure. People who are 5-boxing, you're going to have to pick 3 of your favorite classes, or 3-man one of them and 2-man the other with someone else. So that's the way that's going to happen. I guess there's more to come on that. The Island expeditions. There's another panel here in about 2 hours. The 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. East, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern panel for World of Warcraft, and there will still be another Q&A tomorrow. That is Saturday. Azerite, Heart of Azeroth. Something about it's kind of like another artifact Delio, artifact weapon Delio, except less linear, not nearly as linear as we have now, because right now you look at your artifact weapon, you know you're going to get them all. It's just like in what order. They're like, you have the illusion of choice, but ultimately you want the end goal, which means you have to get them all regardless. So you only have a choice at the beginning for the small power-ups, but hopefully this Heart of Azeroth, Azerite thing will allow for some more flexibility. I mean, multi-boxers really enjoy that. We really like the old talent trees where we can just have wild hybrid builds that made sense for the shit that we did, right? And then they took those talent trees away, and obviously we lost those crazy hybrid builds. But hopefully we can get something like that back, although this is aimed specifically at gear instead of, say, talent, so who knows? Who knows? Obviously more to come on that at a later panel tonight. Instance PvP, 2 new arenas, 1 new battleground, not a huge deal for multi-boxers. World PvP, this is something that I thought was really cool. Sometimes you feel like you're stuck, as Ian said it, sometimes you feel like you're stuck on a PvP server because your friends play there and you don't really enjoy the open world PvP and whatnot. Sometimes you're stuck on a PvE server with your friends or maybe you don't even have any friends there anymore and you're just stuck because you have a lot of characters. As multi-boxers, I have a ton of characters on Sargeras US. And what am I supposed to do? If I don't enjoy leveling through a PvP server, if I don't enjoy the cross-realm activity that I get, because Sargeras, being an alliance-heavy server, is thrown into a cluster with Mal'Ganis, which is a Horde-heavy server, and Illidan, which is a Horde-heavy server, and other Horde-heavy servers as well. So when cross-realm is active in a zone, even in Legion and even in the Broken Isles, there's a ton of Horde there. And that sucks, right? That sucks because then you're getting camped. If you're trying to get shit done, you're trying to get shit done. You don't, if you want to look for PvP, you look for PvP. If you're trying to get PvE done, you're trying to get PvE done. Sometimes you just don't want them to mix. And that's what's coming with World PvP. They're more or less unifying the servers. He didn't straight up say that all servers are just going to be one server, but I think that's what they're leaning towards, that they're aiming to try to make that happen. What they're doing is they're removing the PvP or PvE aspect of every server, and they're making PvP just a toggle that you can turn on and off. If you turn it on and you leave your city, your faction city, and you go out into the world, you're going to be thrown into, and this is what I understood, you're going to be thrown into the world like you would normally see, but you're going to be now in a PvP instanced area with everyone else who has toggled on PvP. This is fantastic. If you want to get shit done now in PvE, you want to do quests, world quests, you don't want to be bothered, but you play on that old PvP server that you've been stuck on for a long time, and it's tough to get that stuff done sometimes, now you can just turn off PvP, go do your world quests, you got your gold, you got your stuff, you got your Azerite, I guess, is what you're going to be getting this next expansion. You got all that done. You're like, I got some time left. Let's flip on the PvP toggle, and let's go fight it up, right? So that seems really cool. I really like that because, honestly, I was thinking about starting to move off of Sargeras and move to a PvE realm because I was like, I feel like I'm getting stuck because I need to level more teams, but I'm like, this is going to take even longer to do because they're not dungeon-friendly teams like 5 mages or something like that. It's not a dungeon-friendly team. That's more like a just quest and do a dungeon every once in a while, but I can't use LFD, right? I can't use the dungeon finder tool. So I'll be stuck out in the PvP world and just have to suck it up. And it's like, it's not a huge deal. I don't mind PvP. It's just that when you're a multi-boxer, you're a target, and you know that these people are going to camp you all the time. If you find the opposite faction, if you find specific players, they're just going to camp you regardless, and there's nothing you can do, right? You know that it's going to take longer to level that 5-man team. So the final thing they did say about the instance PvP and whatnot, or not the world PvP toggling it on, you're actually going to get bonuses to leveling and whatnot because Blizzard understands that playing on a PvP server is more inconvenient due to the fact that you can easily find yourself, in fights consistently and, being camped. So they are going to, I guess, up the experience, up the gold, up the rewards and whatnot. Who knows? Who knows? They said that there's going to be a bonus. It better be a fucking sweet bonus. Otherwise, you're not going to get people to play on that PvP server. I can tell you that much. So let me take a swig of my water here. Hold on. Okay. So let's talk about this opening ceremony because anyone can watch it. You can watch it for free if you haven't seen it already. They're taking forever, right? They're going through some of the other opening ceremonies for the other games were like kind of odd and awkward. It seemed like the Hearthstone one was a little awkward. That should have been more or less a panel, not the opening ceremony. I don't know. I really wasn't into it. Hearthstone, I've never played the game. I mean, I understand. I've never played it, but it seems like a cool game. A lot of people love it. I don't hate it, that's for sure. I don't hate any Blizzard game. But anyway, it took them forever to get to the WoW panel. They finally get to the WoW panel, and fucking J. Allen Brack walks out into the stage. I couldn't believe it. And neither could the crowd either, because I'm sure everyone was expecting Ian Hazzikostas, or even there was a hint that it might have been Metzen, because Metzen was already spotted at BlizzCon this year, apparently. I didn't see a picture, but that's what I had heard, that Metzen was spotted at BlizzCon. So I'm thinking, oh shit, is Metzen going to come out and talk about this? But it wasn't. It was J. Allen Brack, and he walks out here, and I'm thinking, we're all in Discord. I guess I can't scroll up at this point. It's pretty far up there. But yeah, so J. Allen Brack walks out on stage. No one is expecting this guy, and I'm thinking, if this dude is out there, he better be talking about fucking classic servers, because he's the guy who made the statement, you think you do, but you don't, when some dude asked about classic servers, vanilla servers, back several BlizzCons ago. You know, he made it a point, he was like a dick about it. He was like, you think you want them, but you don't, because the bugs still exist, and this still exists, and the shitty stuff still exists, and the hard leveling still exists. And it's like, listen, Jay. Listen, Mr. Brack. Right? So he comes out, and he's talking about some bullshit, and like I'm still, everyone's in awe. Like, what is this guy doing up here? And then he starts talking about fucking ice cream, and it didn't click with me at first. And he said cookies and cream, and I'm thinking vanilla. This dude is gonna fucking. There's no way. Like, this guy is going to talk about classic servers, but there's no way. There's no way. They're actually gonna fucking mention this here at BlizzCon, and he did. There's a trailer for classic servers. They said they're in development. They said there was more or less an apology. They're like, we heard you. We realize there's, a lot of people who want this. And so we think we've figured it out. And there's classic servers that are coming in the future. There's no date. There's no more details about anything. But I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. That is the highlight of the opening ceremony, and probably all of BlizzCon for me. Obviously the next expansion is very cool. It kind of, seeing the next expansion and knowing about that kind of drowns out the current expansion. It's like, well, there's nothing really to do now. I might as well just make as much gold as I can, right? Because progression is, it is what it is, but I don't know. But the whole classic thing, I was just talking about the Cataclysm revamp that I just wasn't happy with. And this is going to be so incredibly interesting. This, in my opinion, opens, as I said on the DB mega thread that I'm maintaining at the moment, I said this opens a new, old, in parentheses, chapter for multi-boxing. I hope there's not any type of anti-multi-boxing rules here. Ebony had brought up, Ebony being the current developer of Jamba, brought up, she said, do you think they're going to let us multi-box in Battlegrounds with follower enabled? I doubt it. I highly doubt that, right? I highly doubt that. But, anything's possible. Maybe they'll overlook that for the first month or something, and they'll be like, oh shit, we forgot to disable follow in Battlegrounds. So there might be something that you can get out of it. But, don't hold your breath for that to happen. But if you've ever wanted, I can't wait, because I didn't get a chance to multi-box in vanilla. I didn't know what it was until early Wrath. That's when I started multi-boxing. But everything announced seems great. Seems like just a lot more fun that we're going to have in the next expansion and the classic servers. I don't know how I'm going to balance and juggle my time between both of these types of servers. This is going to be so interesting. I think a lot of people are asking that question. The private server scene is exploded. People are going crazy. I understand that private servers exist. I have nothing against them specifically. Fact of the matter is, I don't play on them simply because they're kind of all over the place, and they're coding. There's all kinds of bugs and bullshit. People have learned to accept, in my opinion, less than acceptable gameplay with a lot of that. And while things they call themselves Blizz-like and whatnot, they're not really, especially because you can't dabble in multi-boxing on private servers and whatnot. They usually always ban that, due to the fact that, of course, the accounts are free to make, and you could just make as many accounts as you want. Some private servers do, but still, again, there's latency shit. I'm in the United States. 99% of the servers are hosted over in Europe or Russia somewhere where they're out of Blizzard's reach, really legally, without a lot of work for Blizzard. So the latency is a killer, and I really enjoyed the original World of Warcraft. I played since day one. I was there on opening day, and the game has meant so much to me that vanilla means so much to me. And I don't mind the arduous, gameplay that vanilla is. I don't care. I don't care. It's not rose-tinted goggles. I've dabbled in private servers here and there, but like I said, I don't play them just simply because of bugs. And if it goes down, your character's gone, man. I got shit to do on live. I got videos to make about live. There's, playing on vanilla, classic, old school stuff, that takes a lot of time dedication. Things took a lot longer back then. So I don't have time for private servers, let alone that they're just not up to my standard specifically, But Blizzard releasing their own servers obviously will be up to Blizzard's standard. And that is really what I'm looking forward to. I don't expect to hear much more from the classic server development specifically until potentially next year sometime, I don't, because they've got their expansion to worry about. They're not going to release an expansion, the new expansion, Battle for Azeroth. They're not going to release that side by side with classic development. That would just destroy the player base. Who's going to go where, who's going to play what? It's going to just fuck everybody up. So I imagine that when there's going to be some sort of drought in content, they will release classic server, something about it. We have no more details other than it is just in development. But I hope that's everything I wanted to talk about. Kind of a long video, but it is what it is. I got a lot to talk about. And I'm going to throw this fucking motherboard out of the window. I can't believe this shit, man. Anyway, I have to get some stuff ready and get ready for the next panel here in about 2 hours so that I can add more stuff to the mega thread and keep up with that. There will be more videos in the nearest future. I have to script a bunch of stuff out and have to plan a bunch of stuff out so that when the secondary machine is back up again, then I can just start recording right away. So that's that. And thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for watching. I love you all. My name is Mirai, and I will see you in the next video.